interesting agenda, as we will be speaking about the open contract, which is the main contract for the SMB market for quite a long time now. And then we will speak about the cloud solution provider, which is a new licensing model, very interesting for us in the SMB market. I will come back to it, of course, later. Then we'll have a look at the different promotions offered by Ingram and by Microsoft and how you can combine all of them. And to end this presentation, I will give you the floor and answer any questions you might have on Open, on CSP, but also on any other licensing topic. So if you have any licensing question, any case you would like to submit, feel free to do so at the end of the presentation. During the presentation, if you have any question at any time, feel free to ask immediately. I'll try to keep a look on the questions appearing on my screen and answer them as soon as I see them. So let's start with Open. As you may already know, we have different types of contracts. Even in Open, we have the classic Open or Open license, we have the Open Value Enterprise, and Open Value subscriptions. Those contracts are part of the volume licensing agreements of Microsoft. And those are the contracts made for the smaller number of licenses or the small businesses, which in fact is up to 500 user computers, depending of the type of license you are willing to buy. You can, of course, start sooner in a larger agreement, like a Select Plus Enterprise Agreement, MPSA, but it's not interesting for us, the SMB partner, as we cannot sell them. It might be, in some cases, more interesting for a customer, but then we will lose him, so we might not be interested to give him the opportunity to move to one of those contracts. So as we can see on that screen, we have different types of contracts which allow us to buy on-premises software. So in an open value, a company-wide or organization-wide, or in an open value subscription, we are able to buy on-premises software. Well, in the last case, in the open value subscription, we are not purchasing, we are subscribing, so we are renting the software. In the first case, so in the classic open or open license, the software assurance is an option, otherwise it's always included. In those different contracts, we can also buy cloud software or online services. And if you really want, you can also use another contract to buy online services, which is the Microsoft Online Services Agreement, which is in fact the contract that you have if you buy your Office 365 directly on the Microsoft website, so directly online. This was the quickest solution to buy additional license in the past. It is still a contract that is used by many partners because they don't want to contact Ingram Micro to order their license. But it's the less interesting solution for you to buy the licenses because you have the lower margin. If you buy the same license, so an Office 365 in an open value or any other flavor of the open contract, you get much more margin than if you buy them in the MOSA contract. And that's especially more the case during the second, third year, or even later. We can also see on the screen the different contract for the larger enterprise, but it's less interesting for us. So let's have a look in detail on how work an open license, an open value company-wide, and an open value subscription. And first of all, I will of course start with the open license. So the open license is a transactional contract, which means that you buy what you want when you want. If you just need 5 Office, you just buy 5 Office, and then if 2 months later you want to buy just one Visio, you can just buy one Visio in the same contract. You buy perpetual licenses, which means that you can use them forever without any time limit. A disadvantage of this contract is that it's limited to strictly one entity, which means that you cannot share the contract with different companies in the same group. So if you have a subsidiary and you want to share the licenses between the mother company and the subsidiary, then you should choose another type of contract, because with this one you cannot do that. You will need two different open licenses to cover the mother company and the subsidiary. Software assurance is completely optional in an open license, and you can even decide to take software assurance on part of the software. So you could decide, I want 5 Visio with software assurance and 2 projects without. It's completely up to you. You need to pay upfront. Well, your customers need to pay upfront, and that's quite important. It's in the contract. It means that if you really want to respect the contract, you need to wait for the payment of the customer before providing him or her the licenses, which is good for your cash flow as well, because if they don't pay, you don't order and you don't provide. Another point is that they need to order upfront. They cannot install a software even if they already have some licenses, but if they don't have enough licenses, they first need to order the license, pay it, and then they can install. The open license contract is a 2-year contract, which means that it starts on the day of the first order and it stops 2 years later. If you bought some software without software assurance, then it doesn't change anything. You bought them and they are valid forever. You can use them forever. If you bought them with software assurance, then you need to renew, or you don't need, but you can renew software assurance either in a new open license or in a new open value. You will probably want to renew software assurance in an open value in place of the open license, because with the open value you will be able to split the payment, which is not the case with the open license. As we've just seen, you need to pay upfront. There is no price protection in an open license, which means that if you buy today 10 Visio and you pay a price of X, if you want to order additional license in 2 months, you will pay the price of that day. You will not pay the same prices as the initial order. And last inconvenient of this contract is that there's no limitation in the number of resellers, which means that you can sell an open license to your to your customer, and then your competitor can sell additional license on the same contract of your customer. I hope it's clear for everyone, otherwise don't hesitate to ask a question. So if we want to summarize, this is a 2-year contract. We have perpetual licenses for on-premises software. Of course, if you buy a subscription, it's still a subscription, so it's still non-perpetual. But if you buy a Windows Server license, then it's perpetual. You can order additional software during the 2 years of the contracts, and you can order them one by one. You don't need a minimum quantity to buy additional software. Software assurance is an option, and we have 4 different price levels. We have the standard open business or open license without any level. Oops, sorry. We have an open business which was named level C and which is now open business 500, which requires a minimum of 500 points, and I will come back to that later on. We have an open license for the Gov, which has better pricing, and we have an open license academic for the education sector. If you want to start an open business or an open license, no level, you need a minimum of 5 licenses, or you need a minimum of 3 licenses and 2 of them have software assurance, or you need to buy a qualifying license. A qualifying license might be a per processor license, can be an external connector for Windows Server, or can be just one Exchange Online. Just one cloud service is enough to start an open license contract. You can order additional licenses one by one without any problem. For the public sector, we have the Open License Gov, which gives pricing more or less equal to Select Plus Level D, which is really competitive. We have the Open License Academic, and with those two contracts, we have the same rules as an open business no level, minimum 5 licenses or 1 qualifying license. With the Open Business 500, we have a lower pricing, but you need a big initial purchase. There are different groups of products. There are different types of points per product, and you need a minimum of 500 points per group to obtain the level C on that specific group. As we can see on this slide, we have 3 groups: applications, server, and system. And if we receive an order from a customer, we need to split the software in those 2 groups, and then per group we will see if the customer is entitled to the Open Business 500, or if we need to order a standard Open Business or Open License. If you want to know the different points, you can find them in the price list, or you can find them on the Microsoft Volume Licensing .com website, where you can find the product terms, and in the product terms you can find the different points as well. I've put some example in the presentation. So if you buy an Office license, you get 2 points. If you buy a Windows Server, you get 10 points. An Exchange Server is also 10 points, and an upgrade to Windows 10 Enterprise is 2 points. If you take software assurance, then you double the number of points, which means that if your customer needs 125 Office plus software assurance, he already has 500 points, so he's already entitled to an Open Business 500. Of course, you can mix the product in the same group, so taking a customer with 60 Office plus software assurance and some Visio plus software assurance, some additional projects from the application group can also get the 500 points and then get the Open Business 500 for this specific application group. If your customer has an Open Business no level, so classic open license, and you want to order additional product, then he will get the classic price. If he has the Open Business 500, for the same group of product, he gets the Open Business 500 price, even if he's only ordering 10 additional licenses. So if you have a customer with an Open Business standard, and he's willing to make a big purchase of, I don't know, 150 Office plus software assurance, then you should create a new Open Business 500 contract, because he won't be able to get the price on this classic Open Business. You really need to make a new contract for that. Let's take an example now. So we have a customer who has an Open Business no level, which starts 9 months ago. It is now willing to order 1 license plus software assurance for Skype for Business Server plus 20 CALs. There are 3 possibilities. Either we add the new licenses to the existing contract, but your customer will pay for 2 years of software assurance while it will expire in 15 months. So in fact, he's losing 9 months of software assurance, but has to pay for it. Or we create a new Open Business no level contract, and then he will get 2 years of software assurance, but again, he has to pay everything upfront. Or, and in my opinion, that's the best solution, you would advise your customer to go for an Open Value contract, because then it's a 3 years contract, so they can split the price on 3 years, which will be better for the cash flow. Of course, if your customer has too much money, then you can sell an open business. If you want to order an open license contract, well, you contact Ingram Micro and you will receive two numbers. You will receive the authorization number and you will receive the license number. With those two numbers, you go on the VLSC website from Microsoft, you introduce them, and you get access 24 hours later to the different license, product download, product keys, etc. If you want to order additional licenses on the same contract, you just need to send the authorization number to Ingram Micro and you will receive a new license number that your customer will have to introduce on the VLSC website, or that you can introduce yourself on the VLSC website if you are managing the software for your customers. What are the advantages of the open license? Well, it gives you unlimited downgrade rights. So as soon as you buy a piece of software, well, I mean a software for on-premises, you can downgrade it to any version. So you could decide to buy a Windows Server 2012 R2. Without software assurance, you can downgrade it to Windows Server NT4. Of course, you have to find the media by yourself because Microsoft is only providing on the VLSC website the last version and the previous one. Sometimes they also go to N-2, but it depends on the product. Another advantage is that you have no assigned language to the license, which means that you order the piece of software and you can install it in the language of your choice. It's also easy to enter. You only need a minimum of 5 licenses or 1 qualifying license. It's flexible. You buy what you want, when you want, with or without software assurance. No commitment. You don't need to sign a big contract, so it's really easy. Software assurance is an option. License management is much more easier if you compare it to PKC, FPP, or even OEM, because you have only one key for all your computers. You don't need to track which key goes on which computer. All you need to know is how many computers do I have with that piece of software. Do I have enough licenses? Otherwise, I need to order. And of course, you get access to a VLSC website. Now, I have some questions for you, just to see if you are already sleeping or if you understood everything. And you can answer in the question or in the chat. It's up to you. So your customer has bought an Exchange server license plus 50 CALs with software assurance 2 years ago using a new open license contract. He's now willing to maintain software assurance. What will you advise? Should your customer buy a new open license contract for licenses plus software assurance? Or should he renew software assurance in the current contract? Should he use current contract to order licenses plus software assurance? Or should you set up a new contract to renew software assurance only? I do agree with Christophe and Christophe. So yes, you're right. The good answer is number 4. Why is it number 4? Well, because it's not the other one. Why not? If you set up a new open license contract for licenses plus software assurance, then it means that you rebuy the license, which is useless because your customer already bought the license. So it doesn't need the license anymore. It just needs to renew software assurance. So it's not number one. And it's not number three for the same reason. You don't need to order new licenses. You just want to renew software assurance. Why can't you renew software assurance in the current contract? Well, because it's expiring and the contract started 2 years ago. It will stop now. If you renew software assurance in the same contract, then you renew for 2-3 days or 2 weeks. I don't know when it will be finished. And then you will need to renew again. So indeed you need to set up a new contract to renew software assurance. Second question. An open license contract expires 24 months after initial order, 24 months after the last order, 24 months after initial order if the customer didn't order software assurance on its license, 36 months after initial order if the customer has ordered software assurance on its license. It never expires, or when there's a new version of the software ordered. And indeed, it seems you understood everything about open license. That's indeed number one, 24 months after initial order. Now let's have a look at the open value contract. And first of all, we will speak about the classic open value, so the non-companywide. So like the open license, it's a transactional contract, so you buy what you want when you want. You have perpetual licenses for on-premises software. Of course, if you buy a subscription in it, it's still a subscription. You can cover several entities in the same region, which means that you can use the same contract for a company and all its subsidiaries. The only limit is that it has to be in the same region, and concerning Belgium, it's the complete Europe plus the EFTA zone, which means Liechtenstein, Iceland, Norway, and Switzerland. Software assurance is always included, so you cannot decide to buy any software without software assurance. You have an option to pay annually. You can pay upfront, but you can also pay annually. Of course, you need to pay the first time when you order the software or when you order additional software. And if you want to order additional software, you can do so monthly. Which means that if you already have some Office licenses and you want to install additional licenses, but you don't have enough, you can install them and order during the month. So you can install before ordering. It's a 3-year contract. It can be extended for 3 additional years. There is still no price protection. So again, if you buy some Office now and you buy some additional Office in 2 months, it might not be the same price. And here we are limited to only one reseller. And it's quite complicated to change from one reseller to another one. So it allows you to have quite good relation with your customer. Or at least avoid competitor entering your market too easily. Of course, a competitor can set up a new open value contract. How does that work? For any initial order, well, first of all, you need to order, you can then install, and you need to pay. And the price is calculated. Of course, you don't see that, but I just explain you how the price is calculated. It's calculated on base of price of the license plus 3 years of software assurance divided by 3. Or we can simplify it by saying that we pay during the first year 1/3 of the price of the license and 1 year of software assurance to cover the current year. And that's the same for year 2, and that's the same for year 3. So you can immediately understand that if a customer decides to stop an open value during the 3 first years, it just has nothing, because he didn't pay the license in full. If we want to add additional products, during the first year, we will pay using the price which is calculated on the same base. Price of the license plus 3 years of software assurance divided by 3, so we pay 1/3 of the license plus the year of software assurance. And we will pay the second term on the anniversary date. So if I set up my contract on January 1st, and I decide to buy additional software on the 1st of May, I will pay the second year on the 1st of January of the next year. Now I decided to buy additional software during the second year of the contract. Here my price is calculated based on the price of the license plus 2 years of software assurance. Of course, I will not pay it for the first year because I will not get it. I mean, it's too late. So Microsoft doesn't count it. And we divide the price by 2, which means that the price is quite more expensive or higher than during year 1 because we have only 2 years to pay the license. If we simplify here the calculation, it means that we pay half the price of the license plus 1 year of software assurance. But in 2 years, you get the license in full. And that's the same if you order during year 3, then it will be really expensive because you have to pay the license in full plus 1 year of software assurance. I hope it's clear for everyone, so I'm moving to the Open Value Company-wide contract. Now we stop with the transactional contract and we are going to a commitment. So if you want to enter an Open Value Company-wide contract, you need to commit to 1, 2, or 3 products of the Microsoft platform, and I will come back to this on the next slide. But it means that you will decide to cover all of your computers or all of your users with 1, 2, or 3 of the Microsoft products. You get, again, perpetual licenses for on-premises software. You can cover several entities in the same region. Software assurance is included. You pay annually, but you order additional software monthly. It's a 3 years contract, and here you get a price protection for the product of the platform. So for the product, you have decided to commit, not for the additional product. So if you decided to commit on Office Pro Plus, then you get a price protection for this Office Pro Plus during the 3 years of the contract. If you decide to order some Visio, you don't get a price protection for those Visio. And there is, again, only 1 reseller on this contract. What are the products of the platform? Well, there are 3. The complete platform is 1 Office, 1 System, and 1 CAL. In the Office, we have to choose between an Office Professional Plus or an Office 365 Enterprise, the E1, the E3, or the E4, E5. Or you can also buy an Office 365 Pro Plus. I hope you all know what Office 365 Pro Plus is. Otherwise, just ask. If you don't know what a product is, don't hesitate to ask. If I have to remind you what is a Core CAL or an Enterprise CAL, the same. In the system, we have the upgrade to Windows 10 Enterprise, and in the CAL, we have the choice between the Core CAL and the Enterprise CAL. And the customer will receive a 15% discount if he takes the full platform. If he doesn't take the full platform, you already get a discount on the product that is willing to commit. So if you take the price of an Office Professional Plus in an open value, and you compare it to the price of an Office Professional Plus in an Open Value Company-wide, not an additional product, but really the commitment on the Office Professional Plus, you will see that there is a difference of about 5%, which is the reduction that Microsoft gives you because you decided to commit on at least one product. Let's now have a look at the Open Value subscription. Here we are again deciding to commit. So it's the same platform, the same products, but in this case we have non-perpetual licenses even for the on-premises software. So you're not buying anything, you are renting or subscribing to everything. You can cover several entities in the same region. Software assurance is included. You pay annually, and you can also order annually for the product of the platform. Which means that if you decided to cover 50 computers and you buy 2 months later 10 additional computers, you can install the software on those 10 additional computers without ordering anything. Well, I mean for the product of the platform. And you will count again all computers on the or all users on the anniversary date of the contract. So we count once a year at the anniversary date, either the user or the computers, depending on the type of product you have chosen, and you pay based on that number. It's a 3-year term contract. You get a price protection for the platform, and again, there is only one reseller entitled to sell software on one contract. If your customer has already some up-to-date software, he can get a discount of 50% on the first annuity. The discount is defined by computer. So your customer doesn't need to be standardized already. In fact, you can, let's imagine that your customer has 25 computers and 10 of them already have Windows 10 Professional. Then you decided to subscribe on the Windows Enterprise platform, then you get a discount of 50% on those 10 computers. And you can get the discount if you have on the specific computer any Enterprise CAL, any Core CAL, Windows 8.1 Pro or Windows 10 Pro, Office Professional or Professional Plus 2013 or Office Professional or Professional Plus 2016. If your customer is willing to take the full platform, then he has to have the 3 products as well to get the discount. If he's willing only to standardize on Office, then we will only have a look at the version of Office on the computer. And so for the enterprise product, we are counting the number of qualified devices at each anniversary date. So if we have a look here at the graphic, at the beginning we have 20 computers, so we pay for 20 computers, then it's decreasing a little bit, then it's increasing again, and at the end of year 1 we have 32 computers, then you pay for 32 computers. Is hiring some people, buying some computer or renting some computer. We have now 38 computers, then it's decreasing. At the anniversary date of year 2 we have 13 computers. You pay for 13 computers. And then at year 3 we count again and you pay a true up. Or you continue another contract. That's for the product of the platform, the enterprise product. It's not the same for additional product. So if you want to order some Visio, then you don't need to count once a year. You need to count, I would say, once a month. So we started and we decided to put Visio on all computers. So we bought 20 Visio. And then we can see nearly half of the year we have 27 computers and we want Visio on those 27 computers. Then you need to buy immediately the 7 additional Visio. And then the next month again it's increasing and you need to buy 3 additional Visio. And it's increasing and at the anniversary date we have 32, then you pay for year 2 32. And it's increasing again, so you need to buy additional license, and you are in fact paying for 37 or 38 license. And that will be the price you've paid for 1 year. So at year 2, again we will be counting, and here you can decrease the number. So he's paying for 13 license. And if it's increasing, then you need to buy again. Well, in fact, you subscribe and you only pay for 1 year. Is that clear for everyone? I don't get any questions, so I suppose it is. What happened at the end of the 3 years? Well, after the 3 years, or 1 year for some governmental contracts, which can only last for 1 year, the customer has several possibilities. Either he signs a new contract, or he makes a buyout, which means that he's in fact purchasing the software, the on-premises software, for a cost which is quite important, but it's possible. Or he's choosing another licensing option. He's willing to move to an open value company-wide in place of an open value subscription. That's also possible. Or he destroy and uninstall all software. He can't keep anything because he has nothing. He just subscribed during 3 years, so he didn't buy anything. Let's see if that was really clear. Your customer wants to obtain Office 2016 Professional Plus for all his computers, and we have 35 devices. He wants to own licenses, and he wants his employees to be able to use Office at home. What will you advise him? Just as a reminder, Office at home can be bought using, well, in fact there is only one possibility, because he's willing to obtain Office 2016 Professional Plus. So he needs software assurance, and with software assurance he gets the home use program, which allows employees to buy Office to install on their personal computer for €13. So I received some good answers so far. So indeed, it will go for an open value company-wide. It's not going for an open license because that will be much more expensive, and you don't have access to the home use program in an open license, even if you have a software assurance. He will not take an open value. Well, he could license it using an open value, but it will be more expensive than an open value company-wide. So let's take the open value company-wide, which is less expensive, and it will not be possible to license that using an open value subscription, because your customer wants to own the licenses, which will not be the case with an open value subscription. Question number 2. Your customer has an open value company-wide contract that will expire in 6 months. He wants to acquire 6 new Visio Standard 2016 license with software assurance. What would you recommend? Either a new open license contract, or a new open value contract, or a new open value company-wide contract, or a new open value subscription contract. Tricky question. And a good answer is answer number 2. Why not? Because a new open license contract is not the best way to buy software with software assurance. We've seen that you need to pay everything upfront, so it's not the best solution for your customer. Answer number 2 is correct. Indeed, you need to set up a new open value contract. You will not use your current contract to buy license while the contract is expiring in 6 months, so you start a new contract. Why can't you use a new open value company-wide contract? That was one of the answers I received. Because Visio is not a product of the platform, if you want to set up a new open value company-wide contract, you need to take at least one product of the platform for all your computers, but you already have a contract covering all your computers. So you will not pay 2 times for the same software. And that's the same for an open value subscription. You will not cover all your computers with an Office or a Cocal or a Windows upgrade while you already have an open value company-wide. And the second point is that the customer wants to acquire the license, so again, you cannot use an open value subscription. I hope it's clear for the people who answered number 3 to that question. If it's not, don't hesitate to ask. I didn't mention it, but you can ask your questions in French or in Dutch as well. It's not a problem. Your customer wants to standardize its 9 computers on the Microsoft platform, and he wants the full platform. So he's willing to upgrade to Windows 10 Enterprise, Office 2016 Professional Plus, and the Cocal. He wants to preserve his cash flow. Which solution would you recommend? Either an open license or an open value company-wide, or an open value subscription. And all words are important in such a question. If there are people who are used to follow licensing trainings, or who maybe took the previous licensing exam for the SMB market, this is the typical question we can find in a licensing exam. And the correct answer is answer number 4. So indeed, you will not use an open license because you will not preserve your cash flow. You will need to pay everything up front. You don't get any discount. So it's really not the good solution. Answer number 2 is also not correct because you don't get the discount while you are standardizing a full platform. So you are entitled to a 15% discount if you take a company-wide. But you will not take a company-wide because the customer is willing to preserve his cash flow, and it's not mentioned that he wants to own the software. So if you want to preserve cash flow and doesn't require to buy the software, then renting or subscribing is much more cheaper than buying. And so the open value subscription will be definitely less expensive for him. It's less expensive during the 9 first year, and then it becomes more expensive than buying using an open value and maintaining software assurance. And I don't know what will be the licensing market in 9 years, but I don't think open value subscription will still be there. That's my personal opinion. I hope you have understood everything about open value and open in general. So now we are going to speak a little bit about the cloud solution provider. And the cloud solution provider is a new way to sell Microsoft cloud products. Currently it's only for cloud products, but I think, I might be wrong, but I think that in the next or in the near future we will also be able to buy other products using that platform. The idea of Microsoft was that you take a piece of Microsoft's cloud solution, you add your own services, your own support, your own services level agreement, and you create your own offer. So you brand it your way. There are two different models. The one-tier model, so you have direct contact and contract with Microsoft, or the two-tier model where you are using a distributor or a cloud provider to buy your licenses. The cloud solution provider, there is no user limit. So in fact, you could serve customers with 10,000 users. It might be more interesting for them to buy the license through an enterprise agreement, but if you have a customer with 10,000 users willing to buy his Office 365 licenses at your place, feel free to sell. And feel free to use the cloud solution provider to sell that. We currently have 4 different products available: Office 365, Enterprise Mobility Suite, Microsoft Azure, and Microsoft Dynamics CRM Online. As I've said, we have 2 different models. The one-tier model, where you have Microsoft, the CSP partner, and the customer. If you're willing to enter in that model, well, feel free to contact Microsoft if you think you can sell 10,000 Office 365 seats in the next year. Then you might be able to discuss with them about that model. Of course, you will need to be able to provide support 24/7, because in the CSP model, the support is provided by you if you are in a first-tier model, or by you and the distributor in a 2-tier model. The big advantage of the CSP is that it's a monthly indirect billing system. So in fact, you could bill your customer monthly for the Office 365 subscriptions. So it's a good way to move your customer who currently are using the Microsoft Online software agreement. What I mean is your customer who are currently buying the Office 365 subscription directly on the Microsoft website because they can pay monthly. Now you can provide them a solution and invoice them monthly as well. Or you can decide to invoice your customer yearly and you pay monthly to the distributor, which is good for your cash flow. There are some incentives in the 2-tier CSP model, and I will come back to that later on. You, as a partner, own the billing relationship. Microsoft will only communicate with the customer about technical issues if they really need to do so. Otherwise, they don't contact your customer. So you really own the relationship from A to Z. You can brand the solution your way. I'm personally never selling any Office 365 offer X or Y, so Business Premium or I don't know, or E1 or E3. I'm selling my own product or my own service, in fact, which has a different name, which has a different price, and which cannot be compared to any Office 365 offer, which means that I can choose the price I'm selling my product. And the CSP partner has a delegated admin privilege on the customer tenant, which means that you have delegated admin privilege on the tenant of your customer. You also need to note that the distributor has some privilege on the tenant of your customers, because otherwise they cannot push the license to the tenant of the customer. Another big advantage of the CSP is that you can order license nearly immediately. If you are buying an Office 365 subscription in an open contract, let's say an open license contract, you send an email to your distributor, or you order directly on their website. Then you receive the confirmation that the order has been received, sometimes even that it has been processed. And you receive the license. Now it's going faster than in the past, but you might expect them during the week, during business hours, in, let's say, 8 hours, in the best case. Of course, if you need an additional license during the weekend, that's a little bit too bad for you. You will have to wait till the Monday. If you are willing to order them in an open value, then you need to create a contract, send it to your customer. Your customer has to sign the contract. Then you can place your order. Well, you will not get the license before 3 or 4 days. So it's not really effective. In the CSP model, you go on the Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace, you log in, you choose the subscription you need, you decide for which customer it is ordered, you place the order, and in the 10 to 15 minutes, the license is provisioned on the tenant of your customer. Even during the weekend or during the night, or if you are working with different time schedule, you can order at any time. So if you want to order that, you go on the Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace. You log in if you want to see the different prices. And the cloud marketplace of Ingram Micro is really well done because it gives you more than just a reseller control panel. In fact, you have 4 different panels, and I will come back to that. And of course, you don't need to use all of them. So first of all, we have the cloud marketplace. And on the CMP, on the cloud marketplace, resellers have the ability to browse cloud services by category. And once they are logged in, they can view the reseller pricing. So they can see their own price. You can see your own price. So it allows you to save some time because you provision new services for your end customer that you already know that are already known by the system in a few minutes. Then we have the reseller control panel. That's an interface for the resellers to use to view their customers, manage the subscription, set the retail price on top of the reseller price set by Ingram, of course. So you can directly fix selling price if you want your customer to be able to use the last control panel. Of course, you can also access detailed reports, download finance documents, you can have consolidated reseller invoices, etc., etc. And then Ingram Micro is also providing an end customer control panel, which is called the CCP. So this panel is dedicated to end customers. Of course, you as a reseller can choose not to provide access to this portal to your customer. It's up to you. You decide if you want your customer to be able to order directly by themselves on the control panel. So with that panel, the end customer can create himself, can manage, in fact, himself his subscription. So he can add additional user, order additional products, and he can see directly the price you have fixed in the reseller control panel. There are some benefits on this cloud marketplace as well. You get a default credit of €5,000. 30-day net terms with consolidated invoicing. You can choose between monthly and annual subscription for Office 365. So even if it's a monthly subscription system, you can decide to pay annually. And we will see later in the promotion that it might be interesting, depending on your cash flow and what you want to do. You get centralized free technical level 2 support desk for all marketplace solutions. You need to provide level 1 by yourself. There are some onboarding migration services available. And you can, of course, download unified billing data if you have an ERP and you are willing to integrate that in your ERP. Now we are going to speak about the good news, promotions. We have some specific Ingram Micro promotions. The first one is the Office 365 Annual License Spring Promo. So if you decide to pay yearly for the Office 365 subscription, then you get a 3% discount on that licenses. So it's only for new seats of annual licenses, not for monthly plan. It's valid until the 30th of June. You get a second promotion, again with the spring promo. If you buy an Office 365 subscription, then you get an Acronis backup cloud for free during 3 months. I'm not an expert about Acronis backup, so I can't explain what it's doing and how it's doing, but feel free to have a look. Another promotion, if you are selling a lot of new seats of Office 365 by purchasing them via Ingram Micro, using the CSP platform, you can get Microsoft Band Medium, and you can get up to 2 Microsoft Bands per reseller. Again, all those promotions are, will be finished on the 30th of June, so hurry up! And another Ingram Micro Cloud promotion. On the Office 365 Premium plan, you can get a Dance Event Duo ticket. You will get the slides, so you will be able to review all promotions. Those are really specific Ingram Micro promotion. You will not get them anywhere else. Now we have also some Microsoft incentives. The first one is on Office 365, and you can earn up to $10,000. How does that work? Well, you get you receive some money per type of Office 365 license you are selling. So if you are selling a key one on Exchange Online, you get $15. If you sell an E3, E4, E5, you get $50 per seat, and Office 365 Business Premium, Pro Plus Business, or an E1 or E2, then you get $30 per seat. All you need to do is, of course, it has to be new customers. You need at least 3 new customers during the promotion, and the promotion started on the 1st of February and will end on the 30th of June. You need to register on the campaign portal before the 1st of June, so again, hurry up. And yeah, of course, you need to demonstrate active usage on Office 365, which means that you cannot oversell licenses. I mean, you cannot sell licenses which will not be used by the customer. Even more attractive, if you are selling a CRM online, you can get up to $100,000 cash back. You get $120 per seat sold. You need a minimum of 5 seats per customer. You get the promotion for a maximum of 10 seats customer. And there is a last incentive for the managed partner from Microsoft. On the EMS, you can get up to $10,000. This is the end of the formal presentation. Now I'm open to answer any question you have on the licensing. Any topic is welcome. Feel free to ask or submit any case you want. And if you don't have any question, are not interested by the question of the others, then I thank you for your attendance. Can I ask about the examinations? Yes, what do you mean? Your colleague took the 070-671 examination 2 years ago. Yeah, this exam doesn't exist anymore. It has been replaced. Well, in fact, it has not been replaced. Now we only have one exam, which is mainly for larger organizations. But it's the same for well, in fact, there is only one exam, so if you are willing to be certified in licensing and maintain a certification in licensing, then you need to take the exam for larger organization. I received a question about open license. What is the use of the 2-year period since no price protection? It's just that you can order additional license one by one during the 2 years. It's just an option. I mean, if you are willing to sell, to create new open license every time you need to order licenses, it's also fine. Then it will be probably much more difficult to manage license tracking. If you go on the VLSC, you will see plenty of different contracts, but feel free to do so. Yes, Dale, the exam is the 74-678. Where do I find the campaign portal? That's a very good question. I have the link somewhere. I'll try to send it directly. Yes, Dale, that's the only one about licensing. So if you want to be a licensed certified, you need to take that exam. And I would advise you to follow a training before trying to take the exam. While I'm looking for the link, I received another question. OVS additional product bought 1 month before anniversary date. How much to pay? 1 month or 1 year? I have a bad news. 1 year. Yeah, I know. It's not a good one. In that case, I would advise... What kind of product is it? Because if it's an Office 365 subscription or any cloud product, then take a CSP. And if it's, I don't see, Because if you want a Visio, take a Visio Pro for Office 365 just for 1 month. It will be much less expensive. I will send the link for the campaign portal. I will add it on the slides before sending the slides to Ingram Micro, so you will have the link in the slides. Any other question? Any subject is good, if it's licensing and if it's Microsoft. If you have a question on Acronis licensing, I'm afraid I won't be able to help you. But is it possible to migrate a customer within Microsoft Online Subscription Agreement, partner of Rico, to Exchange Online Plan 1 in Open? Is it possible to migrate a customer within? Yes, it is possible. Of course, it is possible. That's something which is not always really easy to do. If your customer has currently licensed both directly online, so in a Microsoft Online Subscription Agreement, and you want to move them to an Open or to a CSP, it's not the easiest. Well, it's not difficult, but the system is not really well done for that. In fact, you will not be able to stop the renewal and then continue with the Open key. You will have to stop the renewal, and the day before or the day of the end of the contract, then you need to activate the new license. So if your license is expiring soon and your customer won't be too pushy if it's losing 2 or 3 days of license, then you activate the new Open license and that's it. As it's the same product as the one you already have, you will get a mail saying that the previous license has expired, but the service will continue to work because there is an available license to use. I don't know if it's really clear. I will try to show you on one portal how it's working. Not that one. I'll take that one. First webinar, where will be the slides available? They've been sent by mail to the participants. If you didn't get them, send me an email and I will send you the slides. I come back to your question in a minute, Christoph, about software assurance and Office. I will show the correct slide explaining that. So now I took a portal of a customer and we go in the subscription. So it's an Exchange Online Plan 1 which was ordered online. So we decided to stop it. So before the end of the contract, you can of course stop it. As you can see now, it has expired yesterday, and 5 days ago I activated the new contract that I bought in an open contract. So I activated the license key using an open contract, and you can see that we have the exact same plan. And so my customer indeed received a mail saying that this subscription has expired, but it doesn't change anything because we have another one which is assigned. And in fact, I have here only one user, so it's a portal with only one user, but on that for that user, this license is not used anymore because it has been replaced by this one. I hope it's clear for everyone, or at least for Eve, who asked the question. Does that answer your question? Yeah, perfect. Now I go back to the question about Office. That was, I think, on webinar number 2 that we spoke about that. No, webinar number 1. I'll open it and take the correct slides. Office. So you speak about Office 2016, right? Not about Office 365. Can I show it directly on? Not that one. That one. So if you have an Office license on one on-premise device, so one computer, my user can use the Office on this computer and can also use Office installed on a remote desktop services or a VDI server. VDI infrastructure, sorry. My user cannot use the Office on the device without Office license, of course, and he cannot use it on a third-party device because I only have an Office license. If you want to be able to use it on a third-party device, then you need to add software assurance. And in that case, your user can use it, of course, on the on-premise software, on the on-premise hardware where the license is assigned. He still can't use it on another device without license, but he can use it on a third-party device remotely because there is some software assurance on it. Does that answer your question? Send me an email and I will send you the slides of the first webinar. It's now time for another question. With Office 365, we have something completely different. Here, with an Office 365 license, the license is not linked to a device, but it's linked to a user, which means that your user has to be licensed correctly, not the device anymore. So if we take the same scenario with an Office 365, we have two different types of license, and I will show you that text here. So if my user has an Office 365 license containing an Office Business, so we are speaking about Office 365 Business or Office 365 Business Premium, In that case, you can use the Office on the different computers, on a remote third-party device, and on a VDI. You cannot use it on a remote desktop server. It's only on a VDI and on a different device used by this user, on-site or off-site. If you want to be able to use remote desktop services, then you need an Office 365 license containing Office Pro Plus, which means an Office Pro Plus, an Office 365 E3, or an Office 365 E4 or E5. No, that's not in the slide of webinar 1, that's in the slide of webinar 2. Again, if you need them, send me an email. Other questions? If you have a customer case that you want to speak about publicly, you can also ask it privately, and I will answer privately as well. You're welcome, Christoph. And of course, if you don't have any additional question, thank you again for your attendance and have a nice day. You're welcome. Have a nice day.